name is Christian Jennings. December 15th, 2020, I was on the DIY forum, audio forums, building a preamplifier when I thought of modifying the design, and I called it the tube rolling machines. You know, I thought of the new design with tube rolling. So on the 17th, by the 17th I had laid out the chassis design, sketched out the circuit design for the modifications, used a drill press to make the chassis from a blank that I had on hand. By Christmas Eve, I tested one preamp vacuum tube with the power supply installed, and it was functioning according to the specifications. Second, 2021, I had a working standard preamp with one operational preamp tube. So January 6, 2021, I had two vacuum tubes wired in and tested the tube rolling feature for the first time. And I tell you, I plugged it in and it worked. I was walking on air. It was just an amazing feeling that I had thought of this, and no one, as far as I knew, had thought of this previously. And when it worked, it was really an amazing feeling. For the rest of January 2021, I formed a company, Glass City Amplifiers. I found legal representation for the patent, submitted a provisional patent, set up an e-commerce website using Squarespace, created Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube accounts. February, I posted the first Instagram of the new logo I created for the company. All the work up to this point, which is pretty incredible, is that the logo creation, the web development, the content development, the research, everything, including the patent, was done on my iPhone. Fourth, I post the link to the new website. On the 9th, I'm creating content for the blog and posting that, Instagram, and linking back to the blog, so driving people through social media onto the website. By St. Valentine's Day, I'm basically 2 months into this. After I invented this or thought of this idea, parts had started arriving in bulk. A few days later, I successfully tested the Mark II. So I created the initial prototype and went back and created a second prototype that had the mechanical switch replaced with a optical switch, and had put a prototyping controller in place and written the code for that. Then, February 20th, 21st, more parts are coming in. I get the CNC, so I went online, I did a little bit of research, I talked to some people at work that had a CNC, and I settled on the Shapeoko. I ordered it a few weeks back, and on the 20th, 21st, it arrived, and I'd never used one before. It was in a box, I had to assemble it, so I assembled it and started practicing with it. By the 28th of February, I had an example. I'd taken a piece of cherry from a tree that had been cut down, and I used the CNC to create a chassis for a headphone amplifier, and then I had a working headphone amplifier, from my practice runs on the CNC. So by the 9th, I've moved on to aluminum, and I'm starting to cut out the chassis in aluminum. I created all the drawings for the chassis in Carbide Crate. It's a proprietary application that Shapeoko puts out there. Those drawings need to be converted over to a commercial CAD, so that they can be sent to a fabricator for mass production. That's something I need help with. March 11th, the first version of the cabinet's complete, and those drawings also need to be converted over for not just the chassis but for the cabinet. And the first version of a headphone amplifier is tested and working. It includes the first version of a printed circuit board that I created also on the CNC. So that needs to be converted over to EagleCAD or EagleSoft, so that it can be sent to a manufacturer and the circuit can be created. On March 14th through the 24th, the complete chassis redesign, the layout, cabinet redesign, the printed circuit board redesign, and then add the custom engraved 1/4-inch thick logo faceplate. So you can see there, it really is now looking very much like a commercial product. So in April of 2021, the end of March through April, I started producing more non-tube rolling headphone amplifier prototypes for the Indiegogo, and you can see I'm ramping up there. But at the end of April, I created a second prototype. That's this one here in 1 week. So it took me a couple of months to develop the drawings, for the chassis, for the cabinet, for the faceplate, and just to get everything to work was a lot of work. But once I had this created, it took me 1 week to roll out this design. So, we can leverage this form factor to create different types of amplifiers and give it the same look and feel. So that's all that work has been done. So we can leverage that going forward. May 30th, 2021. By the end of May, we're getting traffic to the website, starting to ramp up. So I'm putting content out there. I'm boosting posts on Facebook and boosting to Instagram, and it's driving traffic to the website. We can definitely see that. So in June, during the Indiegogo program or campaign, I really worked hard on the business model and the operating model, the marketing model. So I'm not going to go into depth on this, but this is pretty important, and it's operational, and I have all the components of this are in place. So July through New Year, really not much. I mean, we sold our home, we moved into a temporary apartment, bought a new home, renovated, moved in. We had Thanksgiving and Christmas with the children and the grandchildren, and basically a year passed since I invented the tube rolling amplifier. Going forward, March through June of 2022, I really want to develop a product that's on par with the Evo 100 integrated headphone amplifier. So I've got some information here on that, but I need to find some performance point that beats the competition, and I need help to optimize the circuit and make improvements, where required for things that people are going to expect. So the base circuit, I'm not going to go into detail here, but this is what we'll start with. So the Mark II, the full feature, that's this guy here that uses the optical relay and uses the Uno R3 microcontroller for prototyping. The control logic is written in the Arduino application. The goal really is to develop an iPhone app to take the place of the infrared remote, and then integrate the Apple Music to stream music along with the ability to send control commands based on playlist metadata like genre. So for control, the Bluetooth communication code is not yet written. I have a Bluetooth module, but I have not integrated it yet. I need help debugging the controller code and then adding in the Bluetooth communications for streaming and control. I also need the code ported away from the prototyping platform to a dedicated controller at some point. The tube rolling printed circuit board is simple, but it's drawn out in the proprietary application Carbide Create. The drawing along with the cabinets and chassis drawings need to be redone in a commercial application. I've laid out the organization. I'm not going to really dig down too far into this, but we're still getting organized, so this is going to change as we grow and as we learn more. Well, that's the update. Thanks so much, and I appreciate your time and your consideration.